All right, ladies and gents, so let's first talk about holsters really quickly. So there's many different types of holsters, specifically in the way that it retains the weapon system. And the best definitions that I've at least seen are passive and then active. You hear different levels, level 1 through 4, but some people will say, well, level 1 has no active retention, level 1 does have active retention. And so what I just want to go ahead and demonstrate for you guys here today is a passive retention holster, and then I'll also go grab some active retention holsters, whether or not you call it level 1 or 3 or whatever, it's up to you, I don't really care. But just know that passive retention by design is inherent to the shape of the weapon system. So for example, here we have the weapon system, here we have a passive retention holster, which means that there's no active buttons or anything. Just the shape of it alone, and see that one's even just a little loose. So I'm going to show you how to tighten that up here in a second. But just by pulling it out, it's going to come out. That's a passive retention holster. Now, active retention holsters, we like to have, you have to push a thumb loop down, or you have those Serpas where you have to push in the button in order to release it. Something is actively holding it in there. For the passive, all we have are these tension screws right here, here and here. And so for example, if I wanted to tighten this down a little bit more, I'm just going to come in here, give these screws a little bit more of a tightening, because these are the retention screws. A little bit better, but I want it to be a little bit tighter. And a good way to test this out is to do things like burpees with the weapon system holstered. So that's good. Oh yeah. Or do it like that, a little bit risky though, because if you drop the gun, you could damage it obviously. So you definitely want to have good retention on those passive holsters, but you could also make it too tight. And that comes with a lot of inherent disadvantages, because then you can't get the gun out. The other types of screws that you're going to have right here are your actual like clip screws. Now for these, you want these things to be as tight as possible. You probably want to even throw some Loctite in here. We'll store it for you guys. We're rappelling off of or fast roping off of a helicopter. Hit the ground, I started running towards the objective, and I felt something like kick in the back of my feet. And I look, and it's my handgun with a lanyard bouncing behind me, hitting my feet, because these screws actually came undone and the gun was still in the holster, but it was being dragged behind my feet with that lanyard. So make sure that you keep these nice and tight. There's really no reason for those to be loose. And then now, of course, this is the ultimate test, right? You want to be able to successfully draw that weapon out of that holster without completely ripping your belt off. So that's looking pretty good. Yeah, let me go grab a active retention holster for you guys so you can take a look. Something like this is an active retention holster, where when I go to draw that gun, I need to push down and forward on this strap. My thumb comes down here on the draw, I push forward, and that gets my hand into that high firm pistol grip, and then I pull it out. I think this one's for a 1911. Yep, so anyways, different types of holsters. Really up to you in the end. These ones are made out of Kydex, that firm material. You could use some leather ones. The thing about leather with me is, one, it's too comfortable. You're likely to leave your gun behind when you're using the toilet somewhere. But then two, I've seen leather fold into the trigger guard. So as you're trying to holster, that trigger guard actually ends up getting compromised because the leather's folding into it, especially when it gets used for a while. Very comfortable, but ultimately it's up to you. Make a responsible choice. Use the right type of holster, something that you can get a good clean draw off of, something that can retain the weapon system. Again, do some burpees, push-ups, jumping jacks, hold it upside down. Make sure the gun just doesn't come falling out of there. Put some Loctite on top of that screw once you get it to that desired tension rate, and then figure out where it fits best on your body. All right, gents, ladies, hope that helps.